Welcome back. Before we begin, join me in taking a box breath. Okay. We're going to begin by taking a deep breath in through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold empty for 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for joining us. We're back.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome back to Medicine from Our Hands, where we bring ancient wisdom back to modern living. We have our host here, Dr. Charlie here. I'm an acupuncturist, astrologer, and they do Reiki and pranic healing as well as sound baths.
I'm Blossom. I am a full spectrum doula, womb worker, an herbalist, chef, and lover of this life. I have the honor of working with Charlie in many projects and doing this amazing podcast, and I'm just so grateful we have the time and space in our life to do this.
Yeah. So kind of welcome back to 2026, Gregorian 2026.
Yes.
A lot of new things are happening to us, to all of us. We're kind of shedding the snakeskin year and moving into the year of the horse. And so, we kind of want to introduce to kind of different version of us as well as, evolving the show.
So I did a thing.
What?
And I know it's different, but it changed my life. It feels so cool to have a second go around on this life and what it feels like to be alive and human. And I love my hair. So I'm going to love it in every form. And this is a new form for me. And I'm so grateful I was able to shave my head and record it and have reflections about it. And if you're waiting for a sign to do a thing, just do it. Just do it. It's going to feel exactly how you know it should feel and how it needs to feel. And I felt the call to do this many years ago. And
what would you say the medicine was for you?
It's a twofold one. One, of course, there was fear and insecurity, but once I put scissors and then clippers to my own hair, it was the total expression of liberation. It's ultimate, well, maybe not ultimate, but one of the ultimate body modifications. So I don't have any tattoos. I have several piercings, but being able to change my entire look in one action was like amazing. So men, don't just sleep on this. That's cool. I never understood like why men were always at barbershops. Like I never got it. Now I'm like, I'm trying to be there, And the twofold part was my amazing hairstylist, JL. I can shout her out forever. She affirmed me at every step of the way by her work she does with her clients, her own big chop, and she just made me feel so seen, so loved, so appreciated, and held that I was like, I can do anything. I have the support of the universe, myself, and this amazing hairstylist. So, and my friend Javier also recorded it. It just was a beautiful rebirth, and that's what it took for me to restart this new year. So I'm just so grateful I get to now have more life. What a gift.
Yeah, you literally shed some right? Some proverbial skin from the year of the snake that we are finishing and moving into in the next week or two, depending on when the show posts. We'll be going into the year of the horse for the Chinese New Year, which is also be the new moon in Aquarius. And so we're moving into kind of a new phase, a new transit, a lot going on with Neptune, Saturn going to Aries. I feel like our show needed the next stage of it, but also all the different projects that we started in 2025. We decided to kind of ground it out this year and really develop the medicine from our hands that we've been talking about. And, this show will be very much focused on Sacred Bites being our test project that came out balls blazing, saddles out, let's do this, balls to the wall. And it went really well to the point where we realized that how important food is, and always will be. And this also kind of goes together with this recent food pyramid that was flipped upside down by this new administration to kind of say, hey, let's talk about real food, so they took out, they changed where meats and vegetables are a much more main part of your meal, reducing a lot of the seed oils, a lot of the hydrogenated oils, all the bad processed foods, which is really nice. So we're really excited to be kind of riding that same transit as everyone is also recognizing that we do need to change the way we eat and what products and how we even process our food these days.
Yeah. That's a win. That's a win. If you're vegan, if you're pescatarian, if you're vegetarian, if you fast, if you feed families, this information is for you, and it's really crucial. It's really important that we center, maybe not our lives, but conversations in our lives around food. And it's no coincidence. We know the term and frequent the term breaking bread. It's a sacrament. It's in church, it's communion, bread, wine. And in real life, it's your dining room table, breakfast table. Maybe it's a chair, maybe you're standing, but it's communion, it's connection. So if we're not talking about what is on the plate, you could be eating disease on your plate. That's what it is. That's what processed, hydrogenated seed oils kind of boil down to. So I'm glad that there's more awareness. That means more safety, more health, and a better world.
Yeah, it's very important too that they kind of focus on more dense nutrient food, and I think that's so important that what's happened to our food when we went from really growing and managing our own food, everyone having kind of like a mini farm in their home in the backyard, to today, all of it coming from grocery stores, from big corporations who are manufacturing food now to the point where it's become less of like a nutritional dense food, but it's kind of gone through many hands, many machines to kind of get into like a plastic box. For us to, a lot of us don't even use microwaves, but like if you guys are still using microwaves, that's a generation that's been, in and out of hospitals because of what's happened from the microwave age, right? We talk about radiation days. Fallout is a show that came out, and the little microwave is still a remnant of Fallout, of days of radiation magic and radiation technology that it's still affecting us, possibly in our skies. But all these things that are coming out now about, you guys know, like if you look up, there's patents about radiation technology, about weather manipulation technology. If we're talking weather manipulation, we are talking about agricultural warfare, right? Imagine not being able to have any rain due to weather manipulation, or you get fake rain and you get fake water from the fake snow, and that doesn't actually support your crops. Suddenly, your crops are dying because there's some kind of chemical, heavy metals in these snow particles, right? But that is also what happens with the pesticides of all these, big agriculture where they're putting all kinds of pesticide because they're monocropping. They're not growing multiple crops together in harmony that supports and keeps pesticides away. We don't burn wood ash to put on plants to keep pests away. Wood ash is a great pesticide. Yeah. But it's a process of actually taking wood and burning it. And we've been going through this experience of burning wood in our backyards from camping, and using that wood ash to actually use it to protect plants, right? And that's a technology that we've forgotten, and we go by, readily available products from Monsanto, whatever, big ag these days.
It's not that. You know why it's so subtle? Because we're always using the element of fire. Furnace, kitchen stove, gas, lighter. It's reduced, it's small. What is required is the element of earth, so big space, usually outside to do a bonfire. Wood, that's more earth, and fire, and wind. So it's like the combination of these four is what amplifies the medicine of fire. If not, it's like you can stare at a flame of a lighter for as long as it'll light, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds max?
Until your fingers don't burn, right?
Right. And then there's that. So it's not just fire, because they still allow us it. It's gathering, even if it's yourself, that's gathering. Gather yourself. Sit outside with your own backyard fire. You do the math, figure out how it gets there, but sit with big fire.
Yeah, I feel like we've definitely appreciated having fire around community a lot more these days, which has been nice. I mean, I have a small fire pit, and I don't necessarily sit around my fire pit at home when I have space for it. But, I find that, like, you too, right? You have it as well, but, like, you're not really necessarily doing your own fire pit until there's a group of us that come out there, and suddenly we have a fire going, and we all gather around that fire. Just to show that fire gathers people, right? That is, in astrology, in the elements, just the idea of fire can transmute things, but is also a gathering energy where people will gather around a fire, usually to hang out and sing songs together, but also to cook food together. And so what we found is, as much as the health of the Department of Health is focusing so much on food and telling people to change the food pyramid, we are also have been talking about this for ourselves, and we realized that we could not get food out there. Going to the grocery store, looking at the ingredients list, and finding out there's so much extra stuff in our food that we don't need, that it became an emergency for us as a group, as a community, to go and cook our own food. And now Sacred Bites went from choosing to eat with community to actually, well, what happens when the community is not around and I still need to eat better food because I am eating crappy food. I'm still eating fast food because it's convenient or because it's cheap, and today's inflation has made food inaccessible for a lot of us. And so how do we kind of support ourselves where we are eating home-cooked meal and we have it for a few days and we don't have to cook an elaborate meal every day, but there's different nutrient-dense food in our meals so we feel nourished. I'm studying now and I have to eat a lot more than I used to because my brain is using a lot of calories to try to remember things. No, we are remembering things. And, it means that I have to eat a lot more. And so a lot of times it's, me spending all day long cooking. I'm like, why don't you spend a few hours with friends cooking? And hence became Sacred Bites to Go, which has been where we are grounding now into our medicine from our hands community. Because I think we want to turn this podcast into a way to connect and share news and information about health and medicine in our community, to our community here in Houston, but hopefully to the greater planet as a whole as we get more people in our community.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
Did you want to share anything about Sacred Bites?
Yeah. It's been a dream come true to get the best food that, money can buy, cooked with love and so much support, and to my friends and family. It's so cool how this project has started, Sacred Bites, and how it's evolved. And on Sunday will be our fourth edition and gathering of Sacred Bites. And for me, fast food destroyed home cooked meals. And guess what? For so long, I loved fast food. But it's more about the addiction to the chemicals of the dopamine that it made my body feel than the food. Why? I wish there was an organic McGriddle, but what? You just got to make that, tough flaxseed blueberry pancake or whatever. Whatever. Make it count, make it work. And oh my God, you know who this is. And I'll just not mention her name because I didn't ask, but she's a chef friend of ours. And we were planning a menu and she was just like, don't people get it? Stop just eating ground beef every week for your meal prep. That's all you're going to eat in your life? And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? She was like, there's so many vegetables and fruits and just people just don't know how to cook vegetables. It's adults and kids hate vegetables because they don't know how to cook them. She's like, once you cook and master just like a few, she's like, you will rely less on animal product and more on like life-giving and source products, food that support animals that you're eating, and that's the real strength. And she was just emphasizing how she could get all 9 amino acids in a menu without meat and no one would miss it. And I just kept challenging that. Like, there's no way. There's no way. And she's like, it's like this, it's like this, it's like that. And I said, wow, good for you. You found the way. So that's been humbling and eye-opening. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to cook the best. This is how I cook for my doula clients. They deserve the best. Bone broth, if it's sea moss, if it's an organic meal, making sure there's enough protein, vegetables, carbs, fruit, and then if there's anything else that's supplemental, i.e. protein shakes, juices, cold pressed, it like eating in a rainbow, it all attributes to multi-layered health, and that goes into your DNA, and that's how you build generational health. Strong sperm comes from strong food. Strong wombs comes from strong food. Steaming, yoni steaming, sacral steaming, consecration, praying. It is all the menu. Breath should be the first thing on every menu, period. What is it? It's this, and then what do you want? Drink. Let me just get into the ambiance of this place. What? Let me breathe it. So fast food rush that. So home cooked meal slows it down. And that's why then organic food can sing there, because you just feel every flavor, every nuance, and all the energy. So that's my piece.
Yeah, it's so true. I think for us too, like fast food, like people know about Chinese food as well, right? Like the very quick Chinese food meal that is value, but had a lot of MSG or a lot of salts, right? And we had like the salt crisis going on with like high blood pressure today now, right?
Dang, but I've done my own research about MSG, but what do you know?
I mean, I don't know much about MSG
respect.
just because, yeah, I mean,
Respect.
that was like basically the foundation of Asians and most of their cuisine. But it's just, again, like there's so many ways to accentuate food. And I feel like we got lazy in like trying to manufacture some of these spices rather than just appreciating what spices we already had that was available in many different cuisines. I mean, the entire, what is it called, road in there was a spice road, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that showed how important spices were that to flavor food, because food is so important to our culture. I mean, colonization of culture is based on really about food and farming food. And, you know, today it's funny because now we have superfoods and people are like, oh, check out this, you know, these superfoods. And like, you mean tropical foods that we all, some of us grow up with, and suddenly now it's become anti-cancer because of antioxidants. And like, we used to eat antioxidants all the time. That's why we didn't have cancer. So when we reduced reduced our option to eating like fresh fruits and vegetables, like we had a lack of antioxidants.
Yes, and that's why for many years before taking the supplements that I take now, meaning through superfoods, I took capsule supplements for many years. Ashwagandha, I would take St. John's wort, ginger. I would take just a whole bunch of them at time to time. It would be 7 to 10 on any given day. And I would plan it out for 7 days, and I would be devout to it. And it felt like my body couldn't get through what I was going through in my day-to-day life without them, in that the food I was getting were so nutrient void that it was like these supplements were helping me. But I thought, why isn't this just in my food? And if you think about this, let me paint this picture. Close your eyes for a moment. You're outside. You're maybe by a mountain. Maybe there's a river. Cool. Maybe there's trout or salmon swimming upstream. Cool. You've caught one. You're fishing. You clean it with lemon that you brought because you're camping. And then you may take a knife and scale it. You might, cut off the head, tail, however you fillet it. And then you see a bush of rosemary. You smell it. You have an aromatherapy moment. You ask it if you can take it. You take some. You go to the river, you wash it, and you take some of this off and you put it on this fish. And, is that a fire you've already built? Is a loved one or someone special or a child there or a dog there watching it? Yes. And then you put, 2 sticks in the ground and a string above, or another stick going through these 2 sticks with this fish hanging on top of this fire. You're self-sustaining, you're having a core memory, and rosemary, lemon, and fish just goes. Maybe there's butter. It's your life. Okay, you can return back. Open your eyes. So simple, so easy, so beautiful. We're all there. Why? Because I was literally there in my body, because I've never done that with fish, and I can't tell you why. I don't have a good enough reason, and it's like, why did we go to GMO and erase that as a normal process? And what's more is, I said mountain, but my family's from the island. I love seafood, and I make really good seafood. But I say that to say, once I go back, like, I know it's going to open up a whole new world of cuisine, because cooking with your elders, cooking in open kitchens, meaning outside or feet on the ground, dirt, hut, is necessary medicine our ancestors only evolved with, that us as, I'm going to call us all Gen Z, because what are y'all doing with Androids and Apple forbidden fruit phones? Okay. Right? All of us have, no, I'm not going to say we've lost the plot, but we can lose the plot if we forget that. And someone just told me 2 days ago, a teacher was like, do you realize in, 2 millennia, a million years, time from now, people will say, was this the dark ages, the time we're living in now? What did he say? Because if electricity and the motherboard of our phones go out, all the information that we rely on Google and the search engines in our phone, contacts, gone forever. How do you live? How can you comfortably say that you know how to can something or make sourdough or build a fire? So the conversation starts with food. It doesn't end there. It just begins. So this is all for self-sustainability just in your life. When you can sustain your food source, then you can sustain your knowledge, shelter, and just space where you can expand your horizon as a human.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think this is a cycle we talk about where people say strong men make weak times make weak men make hard times, right?
What?
Yeah, this is phrase that
Cool.
basically shows how what happens is the times create the people that are going to create the next phase, right, of our lives. And so in what we're moving into, which is this digital technological age with the age of Aquarius kind of moving into this phase, you know, it's really interesting to see what we consider traditional values and nature technology having a resurgence, which is interesting when we're talking about this, because this whole idea of quantum mechanics and there's the evolution of kind of recalling our roots when people are really hard up on going into technology, right?
Right.
And even in our foods, right, the whole idea of GMO food is that you can produce a lot more. And they thought being able to make food in scale and making it much more easy to eat, you know, it was kind of like this men trying to control the process of food already, right? And again, it's getting this like the human getting involved in natural flow to try to like one up on nature, right? As if it's like copying nature and trying to like make nature be better because mankind believes that in its limited knowledge, especially in the West, if you're not including Eastern traditions, believes that they know anything that needs to know about technology or about life itself, you know, which is ironic coming to terms now with seeing how to separate everything and like found what death is but don't know what life is in looking for death, right? Or trying to beat death. They never understood how it is to live.
Two quotes. One is an ancient Chinese proverb, and it is, "May you live in interesting times." And the second one is, "You don't have to know who you are, just learn what you need to stop in order to learn who you need to be." And I just feel like that's what it is, because it's autonomy of your own body. If we get to choose our life, death, birth, rebirth, and if we have children, if we have marriage, if we have friends, we'll choose what goes in your body, your eternal body. That's your ear gates, that's your eye gates, that's your third eye, that's your sexual organs, that's your heart, that's your entire body. That's the whole point of holistic wellness. It's not just fixing flushing your kidneys or liver with burdock root and then not doing anything like an adaptogen or ashwagandha for the mind. You can't deplete one and not replenish another. You have to support the pinky toe and then the right elbow and then the left shoulder. It's together. And if people saw each other or themselves as their own skeleton, like bones walking, yes, we have flesh, we have muscles, blood, but you would take deeper care of how you preserve your body, because like I don't even know if it starts with food. It starts with awareness, really. You know, when I've seen babies be born, it's, yes, they're looking for breast milk, but they're just in awe of the world. Like being born is just saying, I have everything.
I mean, I feel awareness is level one of the experience. Just because
right after is food.
Yeah, well, food is one aspect of all the factors that can go against us. Awareness is the awareness that you actually have choice.
Right.
But whether or not that choice is financially possible or not is another layer of awareness. You can be aware that the food has chemicals. Then what do you do next? Step 2, acquire what you need, right? Step 2 requires more money. And this is where the conundrum of most people who wake up to the lies of society, wake up to the lies of industries and capitalism and structure, and kind of go, screw structure, let's flow. And then we struggle with like paying bills and paying utilities. And, you know, unfortunately, like we have sustainable bills, unfortunately, still in our materialistic living because we haven't fully integrated a more spiritual living. Because if it were spiritual living, yeah, we would look at food very differently because of the spirit in the food that we eat, right? But being aware of that doesn't mean you're suddenly going to have the option of the best case scenario, because you could say, hey, I'm not going to work for the man. Great. Are you going to work for the women? Are you going to work for somebody? Are you going to work on your own? If you work on your own, great. Where are you getting the finance? How are you getting finance? Are you supporting someone? Are you servicing anyone to get the funding? And so for us, we've been in this tricky situation where we're trying to not be in the corporate mentality of working and being able to find our own jobs and our own career and being able to service our community. So what we're doing now is the whole idea of medicine for my hands is the community, and we're looking to have different medicines within this community. So Sacred Bites is the food experience to nourish yourself. We have our own medicine healing that we do, where you're a doula supporting mothers to be. Excuse me. I'm a doctor of acupuncture with men's fertility, but also can help with all kinds of pain issues, to GI problems, to hormonal issues, right? So many different ways. Our clinic now also has a detox machine. So it has basically like a mini sauna. It has red light therapy. It has oxygen, carbon, I forget the name, but it gets complicated, but it's like a different modalities in one. It's got the Rife machine, so it's got a frequency machine in there. He's got a PEMF machine that resets and calibrates you from inside with your frequencies and your bioelectric. So there's a lot of technologies that we are able to support people with in this kind of holistic medicine. I go and support you both in with astrology. It allows me to access your spiritual constitution with your physical constitution. In Reiki, you can access your auric field, a magnetic field. In acupuncture, you're accessing all three. So there's different ways to access our different health. And our health is from the physical to the emotional to the spiritual and grander, right? And we're having these cosmic and this deeper past life parallel regressions that are part of your education and who you are too. So that's one other avenue of medicine that is a little bit more conventionally thought of as medicine. However, just like everybody else, we know like drum circles is so potent in medicine. So is sound baths. So we also hold drum circles. We're trying to do something more consistently now on the weekends. We have a couple of different ones here and there, but we also have a consistent sound bath now that we are hosting twice a month, every other week, on Saturdays from 1 to 2:30 at the American College of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. Super excited to be able to provide this service now to the Asian community with the sound bowls, and we're gonna be able to start teaching, regular people, people who aren't students to the school, to be able to learn a little bit about traditional Chinese medicine, sound bowls, teas, nutrition, some yoga, or even Tai Chi Qigong. Like the whole idea is to give people an opportunity to come and learn from each other about what kind of medicine, traditional and conservative medicine and holistic medicines is available, so that we're still involved in our conventional traditional part of the medicine space. But I feel like sound is that's next evolution of medicine as well, that we also want to provide to the community.
Yeah, and your sound baths are amazing. He has these air mattresses, the different times that have been assisting and helping Charlie. And oh man, it feels like you're floating in outer space. And what I love about the reverb and vibrations of sound bowls is that it loops, so it feels like consistent, just a wave of healing, beautiful, loving energy coming at you, and that's my favorite part. But yeah, I truly don't think you can target one part of your body's astral, spiritual, physical, emotional, mental. There's probably oodles more, but if one is down and out, unwell, struggling, in pain, inflamed, I bet, like chakras, 2 or 3 need to come together at least for you to have a foundation, for you then to patch and repair the different struggles, shortcomings in your living experience. Because, right, it's the reason why people go on diets, the reason why people have specific lifestyle changes is for a better living experience. And if you know anything from Disneyland or Sims or any video game, you want to be the main character in the movie. So if you're the main character, this is the foundation of celebrity too. May every part of your living be well and amazing and incredible and thought out and appreciated, because how amazing we get to choose how our life is structured. Sure, right, the whole thing is, did we choose our parents or not, or did they choose us? However, we met in the middle, right after that. And the rising, the moon, and your sun sign, right after that, you get to do what you want with your hair, with your body, with everything. But the gag is, if you go too far left or right and it shows up in your body as STD, fatigue, draining of energy, resources, however that looks, you must sit down and address it. I don't know why, us as humans, I'm guilty of this too, but I know why we'd avoid doctors. But I'm talking and working with one, so, right? But it's because we don't want to be sat down and told the decisions you're making in your day-to-day life suck, need to be better, and they're not good. But doctors are not coaches. Not always. They can be. The point is, doctors have to see many because they took time and energy to get this knowledge so they can share it with us all. And the only way to do it is to have many clients a day. Point is, could be reworked, but I'm not a doctor. I'm just a doula trying to help in the medical field. But the point is, that's why I push the way I do when it comes to choice and being very specific and intentional with what I want, how I want it. Because your heart of hearts and truest living birthright knows every time. It's not a miss. We just don't usually take time to put away the noise, close our eyes, meditate, and just sit. That's where you hear God. You have to carve out the time for that. But once you start hearing your God, the person you pray to, where you believe you come from, source, Abba, Father, all of the things, you could lead. It's all up to you, the user, a more spiritual life, thus maybe a more fulfilling one maybe of more service, of more gratitude. Naturally, you attract higher vibrational people, and guess what? Your body heals. Then after, you can start flying. You can do literally whatever you want. Those are the higher levels of meditation, manifestation, and magnetizing your body to good experiences to even better ones. Like, that's the whole pyramid. The pyramid doesn't just start and end with food. What about sitz baths? What about Tesmacals and sweat lodges? And what about just all the things that help support it? Because when I was sweating the first time in the lodge that I was invited to, I kept thinking, like, this is for my physical body, but, like, all of my thoughts were being cleared and burned away. And, just, like, that feeling when you feel ill and, like, you're like, oh, man, here goes my throat. It starts sneezing, coughing. Like, that feeling was, like, something in my body, but I felt it, like, come up through my body and out. And I thought, wow, there is really no other sweeping, mopping, wiping away that I know as a modality in my life right now that could have helped clear that feeling out of my energetic body. Matters. You can feel lighter. So, right, it's not about fat, skinny, working out, not working out. It's doing what you got with what you got. Because it's like your workout, Charlie, will look different from mine. Respect, as it should. Also, I've heard we should be eating as our ancestors were and working out as if they were and doing the work that they did for our own physical physiques. But that's another story. But I'm just saying that's all to say it's not very complicated, but it is very deep and it's multi-layered. But it starts with talking to your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather on both sides, your great-grands on both sides, and being serious about it. And if they're not here, and if they have transitioned, making that soul connection, talk to them out loud. Make it real as you need it to be. And hearing the stories of how your people lived, that's when you truly lock in to your full evolutionary potential.
Yeah, it's a lot to say. Yeah, I would say that one of the ways that we try to do that as well is kind of going back to primitive living. Well, this is why we have our own group we go camping with, and our camping experience is all about bringing that primitive experience back so that we're able to reconnect to what's important, which is ourselves. It's not always easy to be able to turn off all the distractions, to listen to yourself, to listen to the ancestors. It's really funny how often we have to do very drastic things like plant ceremony, like rituals. I've done a darkness retreat. We do all these crazy rituals like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to look at the sunlight for like 6 days. I'm going to talk to anybody. I'm going to do silent retreat, blah, 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 to do all these things that ironically to us back in the days was just everyday living because we didn't have money to buy anything, right? We built everything. We harvested everything. If not, we just didn't have it. So we had a lot of time in our lives to contemplate and think about things. And ironically, now we have all of the information and most of it, because there's a lot of censorship still, in the fingertips of the internet. And we are bombarded by so many ideas, things to do, that talking to the ancestors, talking to yourself, listening to yourself, meditating, really just zoning out everything and just tuning into what's happening inside. And when I say that, I mean metaphorically speaking, your soul, as well as physically speaking, your heart, your air, your energy, what's physically happening to your body, because that is how we connect and communicate to everything, which is the divine creator source energy that everyone talks about. And everyone loves to talk about this divine source energy, but like people are performing that they are connected to source, but people aren't. Because if you can't just look at one of your brothers and sisters in the eyes and go, I get what you're going through, but I don't have to help you, and I can just be here and be compassionate towards your experience, but not have to help you, is the hardest lesson as humans we have to learn. And we are not always doing that very well because emotionally we're triggered by something we haven't healed. So we will enact another hurtful thing to another person. Or, when we heal it, then something else can trigger us, right? So it's always this constant being triggered back into the self you don't want to be.
Right.
Because you have so much of your life that's triggering you into staying that way. And that's why when we go out camping, you're like, look, here's water, here's some food, here's some fire. Take a deep breath. The rest is up to you.
Literally
That's
just
up
like
to
that.
you. Get a tent, you sleep in that tent, and you wake up, and what do you want? Here's food. If anything else, just figure it out. Nothing
That's all you
but
do.
nature.
Yeah.
And that gives you a lot of space to have this deeper conversation of who you are meant to be, who you want to be, that you've never been able to be. And those are deeper conversations. But, all the different modalities that we serve is not as potent as just being embedded in nature and recognizing that she's the first mother, the first teacher. And when people are like, wow, you have such great things to share, I'm like, because I had a conversation with nature. She talked back, and here's the wisdom I got.
It's like that. It just goes like that. You have a journal and pencil in hand or pen. That's even better. You just,
Yeah. And there's a lot of people don't want to write, don't want to
it's like
journal.
The 20 Commandments. He went to the mountain.
Yeah. Had a meditation.
Come on.
And wrote down these 10 commandments.
10. I said the 20.
20, 10. Well, somebody want to be a superhuman over here. We want 20 commandments, not just those measly 10 you've got.
10 commandments. So it's all about sitting and listening. And that's why meditation is so necessary, but so taken out of our day-to-day life, because you can feel like a spinning top, but when you meditate, and it's all an active meditation, but when you take time to really just sit and listen with yourself, but especially in nature, and that's because there's not a lot of the EMF frequencies. Usually you lose your phone, you find your soul. It's happened to me one too many times. But
and when we talk about meditation, let's be clear.
Specific?
Yeah, just because there's so much misunderstanding of, oh, well, Charlie, I don't have time to sit down and meditate. Well, guess what? Meditation is not about sitting down meditating. It's about being self-aware of what's happening to you. So when you're going to the restroom, when you're going to get a meal, when you're driving to wherever you're driving to, are you conscious of the experience that you are driving somewhere, going to somewhere in a car? How magical is cars that we are able to drive in a car? How magical is that you pay for food and food's already made, right? Or you have to cook it. All these experiences, which now we have grateful journals and write all the things you're grateful for. All of these things are supposed to be in everyday tasks, daily routines that you wake up and you're meditating on why you're even alive, right? And you're doing that by walking, eating, taking a breath, sitting down, preparing your meal. That's the contemplation of life. That's meditation. When you go, oh, I need to now put on an alarm clock for 30 minutes. I'm going to go in this little corner where no one can talk to me, see me, and I'm just going to sit here and meditate. Great. But what did you do? You may have calmed your mind for 30 minutes if you were able to shut your mind, but if you're doing an actual practice of meditation, you should be practicing quieting your mind when you're doing the dishes, quieting your mind when you're cleaning the floors, right? Oftentimes, I'm also one too. I'll listen to music, right? However, sometimes when I listen to music, I'm not listening to music. The music drowns out my thoughts so that I start to go into meditation, and then my mind zones out. And then suddenly I'm just doing the chore that I know my hand knows how to do, so my brain can zone out. And when that happens, that's when I get the insight, get the inspiration, get all the magical ideas that everyone talks about. And like, how did you do it? Sweep the floor, pick up water, and clean the floor. Like, the magic is not in what you're doing, it's in the awareness of what you're doing. Meaning that cleaning the toilets, cleaning the floor is just as meditative as someone who sat on a mountain for 30 minutes. It's just as potent. But are you just doing it every day when it matters, right? Because if you can pay for a vacation to go into Costa Rica to have, a 3-day meditation, great. But when you come back and you cannot bring that meditation into your everyday practice, you didn't do anything. You just went and get away from life. And that's easy to have a spiritual experience when you're away from humans.
Right.
But is it really having a spiritual experience, or you're just looking to have a personal spiritual experience, but still having to learn to be spiritual in community, in people around you? That's why we're all here, right? Because we can be spiritual on our own. That's in your dreams, that's by yourself. The reason we're here to see each other is to have meditation amongst the chaos with each other in community, right? So that's like the goal of meditation, is to be in meditative state all the time. Same thing with Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga. You're not supposed to set up an hour just to do your yoga practices. Is when you're getting out of the car, you're still doing yoga out of the car. You do Warrior 2 out of that damn seat, because you know that hip is probably acting out. So you know that you have to use your yoga movement to get out of the seat. That's the yoga. That's the Tai Chi. When you separate all that and go, I'm on Tai Chi at a certain time and I'm going to order it, that's you commodifying Tai Chi. That's you commodifying yoga. That practice is an everyday practice, long life practice. You do it all the time.
Why is it not good to commodify this practice?
Because then you separate the practice to everyday living. Yoga was never like a thing you did on the side every day. Yoga was just...
What does that do to the energetic and physical body?
You start to create a mode. You're basically escaping to spirituality when it's convenient, not when it's all the time on.
Wow.
Right. So that's the problem with these experiences. Is like, oh, I'm at work now, so I don't care to like have a connection with anybody, because I'm just trying to get work done so I get paid. So don't talk to me when I'm at work. But you're at work with humans. The spiritual thing to do is to acknowledge people.
Oh, wow. That's
right?
like level.
So that means that you're meditating and doing the spiritual work all the time. If you're being yourself, you're being spiritual.
Yeah.
Right. And this is why, like, I don't like the whole, like, well, this week I lied to 3 people. I'm going to go to church this weekend and just go 3 Hail Marys. So now I'm no responsibility from those 3 lies I did. No. Like, in that moment, spiritually, are you conscious that you're going to make these 3 lies happen? That's being conscious. Conscious also means you live with the consequence of those lies, right? And that's where we've had more ambiguity. I think most people are like, oh, who do I blame for the things that I've done?
No one.
Look in the mirror.
Yourself.
Always.
Yeah.
If you have any problems, first person you contact in the customer support is in the mirror. Hello, Dr. Charlie. I'm repeating this bad pattern. Well, let me talk to me about this, Dr. Charlie. And it's hard to be with ourselves sometimes, because, like, if you're doing the work, you're constantly judging yourself for the things that you think are wrong, and it's not wrong. You just being conscious means that when there's a consciousness is when you could do something better or not. You choose not, because it's just better. And what does that better mean, right? Why are you not choosing to be a better version of yourself? Why are you choosing to be a more negative version of yourself? Well, those questions are really your fault and your responsibility. And so in a lot of these circles, people want to have these experiences and do the special rituals that gets you to think about, wow, I did that wrong. And then you come home and that was a great thought, thank you. And then you go back to being that bad habit continues. And And I'm not saying that's easy to do either. I mean, this is why we have rehab and all these other places who've been trying to like fix bad habits. But too often time, like you said, it's easy to purge the bad stuff out of your system. But are you replenishing the good stuff into the system? That matters. Otherwise, those bad thoughts will come back because there's a vacuum of thought, right? And so in meditation, you're not just removing bad thoughts, you're now also feeding good thoughts into your meditation. So you're not just repeating, I'm a crappy person because of blah, 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 blah. It's the I'm a great person because of blah, 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 blah. You know, and when you do more of that, you actually start to believe in yourself. And that's where a lot of the healing happens, because most of the time we've been gaslit in every industry. All our intuition's been turned off since day one. If anyone believed in Santa Claus, you've been gaslit by your community for years. And that's just one idea. Imagine how many ideas we're running around believing in because of some book, because of some school program that you went to. So even the medicine, the Western medicine versus allopathic versus homeopathy, right? Those have battled, and now once you're conscious, you have to start understanding, what do you choose when you know? And the conversation of being conscious, like Cypher says, if you're not ready, I want to taste that steak that I think I'm tasting. Who cares if it's in my head, as long as I'm tasting some great steak, right? Some people do not want to be turned on and activated and conscious. So it is not our place to wake up everybody, because we could be forcing them into a place they're not ready for, and now you're the cause of their difficult life. But in the end of the day, it's still your choice to have believed my words or not, right? That's what a lot of people today are saying. Here's my opinion. Take it or leave it. You don't have to listen to any of it I said, but if you do, again, take it with a grain of salt. This is my experience, not yours. I'm just sharing. And so this deeper conversation of why we have medicine from our hands and why we're bringing up constantly what is medicine in our communities, because we have forgotten simple fact of a hug is medicine, when you just need a stranger to give you a hug and you feel alive. You know, there's just so much medicine in the world, and we're just so filled with trash medicine that I felt like
it's not called. You can't say trash and word of medicine. It's something else.
It's not even medicine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even call it medicine.
Yeah, that's trash. Just trash, dude.
But yeah, this is kind of our journey of why we're doing what we're doing and having a deeper conversation around our communities and medicine, is because even as a healer, it is me in a community that becomes the best healer in our Chinese medicine. The quote is always, if someone is sick in your community and you're healing them, you're a bad doctor because you didn't prevent the sickness from happening. Good doctors will prevent it. So if you end up, you know, that's why I could see you like, CMOS, and you just shove it into people's, as if you're giving them medicine, is because you're preventing them and your community from getting sick. And so if you see me shoving tea into your face and say, yes, I think you would really appreciate this tea.
Well, I don't like the shoving. A gentle,
I'm just kidding.
Vroom,
Airplane, yes.
Soft and easy. Delicious sea moss. Yeah.
Yeah. So that has been our Sacred Bites journey, and we're really excited to be sharing with you all, the products. If you guys are interested, we are selling our meals. We're doing it by weeks, so it's about $20 a meal, you know, home cooked, organic, fresh made. We're storing them in glass containers if we can. We're trying to avoid the whole plastic. You know, very conscious of every little thing adds to the meal that you're going to have. So we call them Sacred Bites to go. 3 meals a week if you need that. That's about $60. If you need 5 meals a week, so once a day, you need a meal that is already prepped for you to just heat up, you know, contact us and we'll work with you on these meals to get to the point where we're providing food for people so that you're getting good meals to focus on what you're meant to do, the career, the job, the experiences that you're here for.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions about anything that we're doing, please reach out to the comments. You can reach out also to us on social media, Medicine from Our Hands, Cosmic Trinity.
Yeah, Cosmic Trinity is my
Cosmic
personal account. And then we have Goddess Glow Birthing also, our accounts.
And if you liked anything that we said, share this with someone who would appreciate this podcast. This was a fun one.
Yeah.
This is a fun one.
The hope is that we're kind of like a news TV show for people in our community, learning about what's going on and the different things that we're advertising and sharing, because I feel like mainstream TV and mainstream media has changed. We're now kind of creating hyper local focus experiences. So this is us in Houston. Eventually, we got Austin people and San Antonio folks ready to work with us, but we got getting Houston going first. Once we get Houston going and connected, then we'll start reaching out to the different communities out here. But yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because it's community building. That's the season of life that we're in. I never thought I'd be here, but it feels so natural and right, I love my community.
Yeah. We next month in March we got a few festivals and conferences we'll be at. We'll be definitely a medicine for the people.
Yeah.
Sharing some beautiful rhythms and most likely doing some vending and some dancing for sure.
Come on.
And that's going to be in March. And then we go into, I have a conference in religion and medicine, and we're going to be doing the sound bath there with some of the other folks here already in Houston. And that's going to introduce sound bowl and sound healing to the doctorate community as a whole, doctors and chaplains and priests who are in hospitals already and who want to bridge the gap of spirituality and medicine. And then after that, we go into a global holistic conference medicine hosted by Cassandra and the American College of Acupuncture and Medicine, where we're really bringing the Chinese medicine part of the holistic medicine into a small little conference. We're going to be hosting a sound bath for the public from on Sunday. So that's very exciting to, again, be able to appreciate and share what sound healing is to our greater community as a whole here in Houston.
And if they haven't ever been to sound bath, sound healing, or they're unfamiliar, what could one expect?
It definitely come and open yourself up to feeling vibrations of sound go deep into your body, into your cells. I think that's that deeper. Yes, the music, everybody's got different musical inclinations, and so some will be more relaxing, some might be a little bit more intense, but deep. But I would say you're going to feel a lot of space opening up inside of you from all the vibration that are coming through with all the bowls, all the different kind of instruments. A lot of people, depending on how they do their sound baths, they might go and get very not in your face, but really close to you so you could feel the vibration of the sound. And that's where I feel like that's the depth of what sound healing should be, is when those vibration, the music goes through you and really opens up space inside of you. And so we're holding them twice a week here. The school is on Westheimer and Gessner area. So it's kind of here in the Asian area, here in Houston, Southwest area. So come bring a yoga mat. If we have some extra earbeds, and you're more than welcome to hop on one of those, but definitely come out and experience the sound bath there.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, guys, sound healing and sound bath, Tibetan sound bowls, gongs, really transformed my life and my sound perception. Thus, you can just hear life better. Your body can take a deep rest and reset, all in the comfort of laying down or standing or sitting. But the bowls penetrate your body and soul in whatever capacity you show up. You don't have to be or do anything. Just come ready to receive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Yes?
Yeah. So that is our show for the day. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you all have
We
a
love
beautiful week. Until next time, medicine from our hands.
Come on.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.